Hi everyone, I'm Nick Olivo, and today I'll show you how to create a nightmare scenario for one of your player characters where they won't be able to tell friend from foe. The key to setting this up is an API mod called Twins, which allows you to link two tokens on two different maps together, so that when we move one token, its corresponding linked token moves on the other map. And so now to our warlock over here, it's going to look like she's being overrun by a horde of undead, when in fact it's just her party members and the other patrons in this tavern. Note that because we're using mods, a pro account will be required in order to do this. Before we dive in, I'd just like to thank Roll20 for sponsoring this video. So this scenario is very heavily inspired by the Scarecrow from Batman. If you think about that fear toxin that the Scarecrow uses, it makes Batman hallucinate. He'll see people that aren't there. He'll see his friends transform into monsters, and then he thinks he has to knock his friends out and get them back to the Batcave in order to save them. And in the meantime, his friends are trying to defend themselves against Batman and somehow also try to help break the influence that the Scarecrow has over him. And that makes for some really wonderful moments in the comics and in the cartoons, and I thought we can do the same kind of thing in D&D. Now, as for the setup to that scenario, well, maybe one of your characters is carrying a cursed item and it's starting to mess with their mind. Or maybe someone has spiked their drink while they're in the tavern. Or maybe your warlock's patron doesn't think that she is furthering the patron's cause enough and wants the warlock to get rid of the party so that the warlock can focus on furthering whatever nefarious cause the patron has. Whatever reason you come up with, we can make it happen. So let's see how to set it up and how it works. The first thing we're going to need are some maps. And I've got this map right here of this tavern, and then I have a second version of that same map just with this more creepy lighting going on here. So we've got the regular version and then what I'm calling the nightmare version. And incidentally, both versions of this map are available to my patrons. And what I've done is, on each map, I've got the same basic layout here for my tokens. My warlock, Clarissa, is right at the front door, and then we've got a bunch of people who are standing around at the bar or at tables in the normal world. And then, over on the nightmare version of the map, I have a bunch of undead tokens and some beetle swarms, and they're in the same position as Larissa's party members and the other tavern patrons. So that's the first part of our setup. The next part of our setup is we need to grab this mod called Twins, and Twins was written by the arcane scriptomancer himself, the Aaron. Aaron, as always, thank you for everything you do for the community. What you want to do once you get out to this page is click on the Raw button, and then Control-A to select everything, Control-C to copy it, and then go into your game's settings pages, click on New Script, paste in the code, name it Twins, and then click Save. And once you've done that, your sandbox will restart and you'll be ready to use this mod in your game. So now what we want to do is link the tokens between the normal map and the nightmare map. And so the way we're going to do that is by selecting our warlock's token, and then we're going to run this command in chat. I'm just going to paste it in there. I'm going to run it. And when I run it, we get this alphanumeric identifier here. This is how Roll20 refers to this token under the hood. So I'm going to select all of this and make sure that you get the little dash at the start here. That's super important. I've noticed sometimes Roll20 will line wrap this and the little dash will be on the line above. Always make sure you get the little dash. So I'm just going to copy that, and then we're going to come back to our notepad window here, and we're going to start the command Twins and then the token ID for our warlock on the normal map. Now what we're going to do is jump over to the nightmare version. We're going to highlight our warlock's token here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run that selected token ID command, and we're going to grab the token ID for the nightmare version, and we're going to paste that right here. And so now effectively what we're saying is we're going to link this token to this token. So I'm going to select all of this, copy it, paste it into the chat, and now we see that we have added Twins. So what we've just done is connected our two warlock tokens together so that when the warlock moves on the regular map, she also moves on the nightmare map, and the other way around. But there's more to the twinning process than just connecting the two tokens. Another thing that's going to happen is properties are copied from one token to the other. And in the Warlock's case, that doesn't really make a difference because the two tokens have the exact same properties. They have the same HP values, the same AC values, the same bar values, the same night vision, and so on. But when we go to the next stage, where we're going to start connecting our party members to the undead on the Nightmare map, those tokens will have very different properties. And so we want to make sure that we take one extra step after we link them together. So let's see how to do that right now. So what we're going to do now is link up our cleric, Zerakiel, to this ghoul over here on the Nightmare map. And I've already gone through and I've already grabbed their token IDs, and so we're just going to use this command right here, twins, and then this is Zerakiel's token ID, this is the ghoul's token ID, so let me just run that, paste, there we go, twins have been added. Now at this point, no properties have been copied from one token to the other. The property copying process doesn't happen until one of these tokens is modified in some way, and the easiest way to do that is to move one of them. So what we want to do is jump back to our regular version of the map, and we're just going to move Zerakiel's token one square to the right and back again, and that's going to trigger the change to cause his token's properties to copy over to the ghouls. And we can check that really quick, easy enough, just by jumping back to the Nightmare map. And now we can see that the ghoul has the exact same properties in the bubbles as Zerakiel does. If we had moved the ghoul first, then the ghoul's properties would have been copied over to Zerakiel, and that's not what we wanted. So always make sure that you link the two tokens together, and then move whichever token you want to be the quote-unquote master token first, and it will have its properties copied over to the other token. So then we would go through and link up any other tokens that we wanted to. And to actually implement the Nightmare now, we're going to make sure that our players are all on the regular version of the tavern. And let me just pull up my player's view here. So this is what my players all see right now. To put Daisy, my Warlock's player, into the Nightmare, what I'm going to do is drag her nameplate up onto the Nightmare version of the map. And when I do that, only her view changes to the Nightmare view. All my other players are still on the normal version of the map. It's just Daisy now who's on the Nightmare version. So Daisy sees all of these undead patrons now, and when I move Zerakiel up and say, hey, Larissa, are you all right? Larissa thinks that she's being attacked by an undead. Once the Nightmare scenario ends and you want to bring all your players back together, all you have to do is drag Daisy's icon off of the Nightmare map, over the player ribbon again, these two yellow lines will show up, drop it in, and that will return her to the rest of the party. So there you have it. That's how you can create a Nightmare scenario for one of your player characters. Just want to say thanks again to the Aaron for building this script, and thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. And until next time, folks, have a great day.